All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to unpack something that I think a lot of us struggle with, that fear of being called judgmental. It's this weird modern problem that can honestly leave us totally paralyzed. But what if we've been thinking about it all wrong?
Come on, we've all been there, right? You see something happening, you get that feeling deep in your gut that it's not right, but you just bite your tongue. You stay quiet. Why? Because nobody wants to be that person, the one who's always criticizing. But what's the real price we pay for that silence?
Well, this fear has backed us into a corner, into something we can call the judgment trap. It's this idea that just staying out of it and saying nothing is somehow the more enlightened path. But the truth is, this inaction, it has real-world consequences.
And this is really the heart of it, isn't it? We want so badly to be seen as open-minded and accepting that we end up not taking a stand on anything. And this has become a huge cultural thing, where we've started to mistake just not doing anything for being tolerant.
And look, the stakes are way higher than you might think. This isn't just some harmless habit. When we all collectively stop making discerning observations, you know what happens? Standards start to slip. And even more importantly, on a personal level, our own ability to think critically starts to weaken. It's like a muscle you never use. We miss out on these huge opportunities to actually learn and grow.
So how do we get out of this trap? Well, the key, the entire solution actually, lies in understanding a really important difference that we tend to gloss over. See, we're lumping two completely different actions under the same name, judging.
Okay, check this out. On one side, you've got exercising judgment. Think of this as a vital survival skill. It's healthy, it's about personal growth, it's directed inward, and its whole goal is to learn. Then you have the other thing, judging, as in condemning someone. This is basically a counterproductive attack. It's directed outward, it's all about placing blame, and it almost never helps anyone. They're worlds apart, really.
So let's really dig into that first one, exercising judgment. The absolute key here is that this whole process is pointed inward. It's not about wagging a finger at somebody else. It's about turning that camera around on yourself and asking, okay, what's the takeaway for me here? And what's the point of looking inward like that? It's all about pulling out valuable lessons for yourself from what you observe in the world. When you ask, how can this experience help me grow? You're using observation as a tool to become more mature, more discerning, frankly, just a wiser person. Now let's flip that. Let's look at the other side of the coin. Plain old judging, the kind that criticizes and condemns, is always pointed outward. The spotlight is 100% on somebody else. And here's the thing about that outward focus. It just doesn't work. It hones in on other people's flaws, it gets all tangled up in our own biases, and you know what it does? It immediately puts the other person on the defensive. But the most important part is this. That whole approach, it creates zero positive change. It's just noise. Okay, so if the difference is that stark, why are we still so scared to exercise good judgment? What are these deep-down fears that are keeping us stuck in that trap of silence?
Well, there are a few really powerful ones. First, there's the big one, the fear of being a hypocrite. You know, who am I to say anything when I'm not perfect? Then there's the fact that we often misinterpret really common ideas, like judge not or don't cast the first stone. And let's be honest, in the world we live in today, the fear of getting canceled or facing some kind of professional backlash is very, very real.
Think about that famous story, the one about the woman who was about to be stoned. After the crowd leaves, Jesus doesn't just say, don't worry about it. No, he says to her, go ye and sin no more. And this, right here, is such a powerful lesson. He acknowledged that the action was a problem, the sin, but he never once condemned her as a person. He basically helped her exercise her own judgment about her life without ever attacking who she was. That's the core of healthy, constructive discernment. So, this is all great in theory, but how do we actually do it? How do we build our own sort of inward-facing compass so we can navigate these tricky situations in a healthy way? It all starts with remembering what the real goal is. It's not about being right. It's not about winning an argument. The one and only objective should be to pull out a useful lesson, either for our own personal growth or for the greater good of everyone. So here's a super simple but really powerful little check you can run on yourself. First, just observe the situation as clearly as you can, without layering on your own biases. Second, and this is the absolute most important step, ask yourself, what is the lesson in this for me? And finally, be brutally honest about your motive. Is what you're feeling coming from a selfless place, for the common good? Or is there a selfish reason, like do you want to feel superior?
And believe me, when we start to get this right, when we really master the skill of exercising judgment instead of just, judging people, the payoff is enormous. Not just for us, but for everybody. On a personal level, this is a total game changer. When you shift your focus to learning from literally everything, you get this incredible insight into yourself. And that naturally leads to a deeper understanding of other people, which makes you way less prejudiced, because your goal is suddenly about understanding, not blaming. And what's so cool is that this doesn't just stop with you. It scales up. I mean, imagine a whole society where more and more people are practicing this. You'd have a culture that's way better at solving real problems, one that can build and uphold standards in a constructive way. It contributes to peace because it takes all that hot air of condemnation and turns it into an opportunity to grow.
So, look, if you take just one thing away today, let it be this: real learning, real personal growth, and any real positive change in the world happens the moment we shift our focus from out there, what's wrong with them, to in here, what can I learn from this?
And that really just leaves us with one last question to think about. The next time you find yourself observing something and forming an opinion, just pause for a second. Run that little 3-step check and ask yourself, is this about me learning and growing, or is it about something else entirely? What's your true motivation going to be?